Have you ever wondered why online learning feels so disconnected? I teach both online and in person classes, and I enjoy both of them. But online is a particular challenge because there's a physical distance between us. We're not in the same room with each other. And often there's only myself and the student. There's lots of problems associated with that. And I'd like to share a few of them with you because I have a vision of how it could be better. First thing is there's an interactive gap. There's a physical distance between us, and I need to do everything I can to make it feel like we're together and to involve you in the lesson. If the lesson is boring because we're using just printouts or a course book where I tell you, okay, now let's do some practice, open to page 32, it's not very motivating. There is a lack of materials for online teaching. It's very rare that course book writers create digital versions of their books. And when they do, they're usually glorified scans. So you might have two pages side by side, and you can click in to get answers, or you can click in to type in the answers. You might have the listening built into the page, but it's still just like looking at the book. It's a nice way to share this information, but it's still not really truly interactive. It doesn't pop. It's like opening the course book that I use in the class and just putting it up on the screen. That's not enough. I need to do more than I do in the classroom to involve the students. And there's quite a gap in these materials. Ideally, it would be a whole curriculum because there's lots of individual lessons you can find online, either paid or for free, where you can look up a grammar point or a topic and you'll get a worksheet. There's some websites where they're based around videos and you can share the videos. Like, that's great. I actually really like those materials. The problem is there's no curriculum, there's no course book, they're individual lessons. So I would have to string them together and make my own curriculum. There is one product that I use that's made for adults, and it does have a curriculum. The materials have a lot of photos, images, there's lots of listening. It's interactive in that the students can type answers. However, I can't adapt those materials to make them any better than they are. And the methodologies employed, I can't change. So it's not ideal that way. We need to fill this interactive gap by creating better materials as teachers. The next issue is curriculum structure. Materials are topic based often, and they don't form a full curriculum online. There are lots of materials available, but if I want to create a course for a student, I have to string them together in some way. It's quite a lot of work. It's not interactive and it's not visually appealing because it might just be a worksheet. Each lesson would be different. One lesson would be a video lesson from this website. Another one might be a worksheet. Another one might be a page from a course book. Maybe I have a digital version of that, maybe not. It's not ideal. Another way I could approach this is to use a course book in the background, follow the curriculum of that course book, and create my own lessons that are visually appealing and interactive. That's a lot of work, I must say. The next thing is tech issues. That ties back in with these other things. The technology is not very interactive. Companies are pushing artificial intelligence, AI products or features, but they just feel kind of tacked on and they don't really do much to help. AI can be very useful. If it's implemented well, it can be part of an incredible strategy in learning a language. It's especially useful when the student is doing homework. It can help them in numerous ways. However, the students need help with that. They need to be taught how to use AI well to help them. And all these little random tools that are coming up, they're just not very useful. There's one very popular learning platform. It's an app. I'm sure you know what it is, where you learn by listening and scrolling through and answering questions. That's a nice add on to your learning, but that is not a curriculum. That is not a full course. That's based on AI. And there's a lot of really bad language choices in that app. They're AI generated, and so there's not much quality control. And you end up learning phrases that are not high frequency. It just doesn't make sense to waste your energy learning something you won't actually use. The technology we have available to us is incredible. I just don't think it's implemented very well for language learning online. Publishers of course books are the ones generally driving the market as far as language learning curriculum goes, and they have not moved. In 2025, they've still not optimized for online learning. They write their course books for in person classes, and that's it. That needs to change. We need to use technology to help us fill in a lot of the missing pieces. Some of those missing pieces are, for example, that nobody teaches learners how to learn. You come in, you sit down, and you're expected to know how to read well. By reading, I don't just mean how to decipher the letters on a page, I mean how to derive meaning from what you're reading and how to think critically about what you're reading, how to take notes. When was the last time somebody taught you how to take good notes? That's really important. This is a missing key in language learning. In my opinion, these kind of things should be taught from a very young age. It should be in primary school. How to read, not just comprehension. Actually, pick up a book, look at the table of contents, and discuss what is the reason I'm reading this? What am I looking for? How do I find it? And then we practice. We don't do that. The same with note taking. There are so many different ways to take notes. A lot of them are very useful, but we're not really taught them. And most people default to very basic forms of note taking. We could all benefit from learning that, but imagine learning that from a very young age. For children, they need fun, engaging topics. They need to read about nature, bugs, volcanoes. The topics need to be relevant to them. They need to be age appropriate. We can't expect them to read about something that doesn't touch them in their lives, doesn't interest them, and for them to focus. It just doesn't work that way. And online, they're staring at a screen. It's all the more important. It needs to be interesting. It needs to be visually appealing. It needs gamification. I don't mean they need to be playing games all the time. I just mean the characters need to come to life. If we're using a course book style curriculum, then the characters in those pages need to come to life in videos. At the end of each unit, there can be games that they can play with the teacher online, harnessing technology to help us. There's no reason online learning needs to be demotivating or worse than in person. In fact, it can be better because you don't need to travel. There's no background. Whereas in a classroom, there might be 6 or more conversations happening at the same time. So I ask myself, why is it that people come to in-person classes? And I think I figured it out. When I ask my students, they'll usually tell me it's because they want a teacher and live interaction. We know that one of the most important aspects of learning a language is the social aspect. One thing missing online, everywhere that I've seen, is community. My vision is to build a community-based learning experience online so that you're not missing out on anything. Kids deserve better, and adults do too. We need human spaces, not just study apps. These problems aren't just frustrations, they're opportunities. And that's what BartLabs is all about. It's to explore all these things in depth and to create that community. Keep checking back. I think you'll be impressed. If this resonates, stick around. I'll be breaking each of these down in future videos, so subscribe if you want to be part of the journey.